also errors or loopholes in the manner in which they conducted themselves on the day?
Okay. I mean, I'll take them in segments. For us, first of all, the grounds for the declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State were not in existence as at the time the president made the declaration. It is our view that the facts as presented did not justify a declaration of state of emergency. They did not meet the threshold or the facts and circumstances that enumerated under Section 3(5) subsection 2. Now, the next segment is whether, assuming that as lawyers say, without conceding that the president was right in declaring a state of emergency, was he right in suspending the governor and his deputy as well as the House of Assembly? We also went on to say, and still insist, that that declaration too was unconstitutional, because Section 11(4) of the Constitution makes it clear that declaration of a state of emergency does not extend to power of the National Assembly to remove a governor. Now, if you know that under Section 305 subsection 5, the declaration by the president does not really become law until it is ratified by a resolution of the National Assembly. So you understand in what context Section 11(4) of the Constitution says that provided that the National Assembly does not have the power to remove the governor and his deputy. Now, the substance of this is, what is a state of emergency? State of emergency is merely a declaration that allows the government to take extra measures to deal with the situation, either war, breakdown, law of order, or any of the things enumerated in Section 305(2). So it could be abridgment of the fundamental rights of the people. It could lead to maybe government taking possession of people's homes or doing things that would ordinarily have been unconstitutional, but for the existence of a state of emergency. It does not extend to the dismantling of democratic structures in a state where a state of emergency has been declared. And it was on that basis that we also posited that if the act of the declaration itself was unconstitutional, that the ratification of the same by both chambers of the National Assembly cannot cure the defect. And if you go into it further, the Constitution has stated that the National Assembly, both chambers of the National Assembly shall by 2/3 majority ratify it. It means that for you to ensure that the constitutional provision has been adhered to, you must indicate the number of persons who attended the sittings and the number of persons who voted for against or who abstained from voting. So you can't cure that by a voice vote. So a voice vote falls short of the constitutional requirement, because by a voice vote, you're unable to know whether you have met the constitutional threshold for ratification. So the use of voice vote in both chambers also underscored the unconstitutionality of the whole action. So even that quote and unquote ratification by the National Assembly does not meet the constitutional muster, and it is self-unconstitutional.
Yeah, President, let me quickly take you up on a few issues here. And if you look at perhaps that those who are saying there's some emergency laws that are permitted giving an omnibus power to the president to do as he deems fit or necessary in the circumstance. And in fact, there are those who have read subsection 5 of 305 and subsection 6 and say, look, these are issues that are being raised, and when the president sees something as imminent danger, how do you describe imminent danger? But the question right here is that in exercise of the duties of the president, discretion is also being put in some of the clauses.
So there's discretion and there's objectivity. The president cannot wake up on the wrong side of his bed and feel, oh, I think there's breakdown of law and order in a state. I hereby declare a state of emergency. I hereby suspend the governor for 1 year. I suspend the sitting of the House of Assembly. I also appoint General this retired to take over. That would be a key on the Constitution.
On one hand, President.
That discretion is not a discretion that is without checks and balances. It must be within the ambit of the law.
So on one hand, declaration of state of emergency, there isn't anything wrong with it, if it's right.
If it is right.
But suspension of...
can never be right. Under no circumstance will it be right. So they are democratically elected government, and no president has the power to suspend another democratically elected officer. If you look at section 188, is it 188, I guess, of the Constitution, on how a governor of a state can cease to hold office, declaration of state of emergency is not one of the grounds.
So whatever President Tinubu did last week, Tuesday, is absolute and is done. Nothing can shake it.
I don't think that it would be right to say that nothing can shake it. They can be set aside by a court. And the president can also say, you know what, I realized that I made a mistake. I reversed it, even though it's been approved by the National Assembly. I think we don't need to go down this route.
Is it also fair on him for those who have described his action as undemocratic? Because there are those who say you do not have 100% picture of what the president is saying. He has security briefings, he's seeing a whole lot of things, he's being told this, he's being told that, and there are threats that are being made in the creeks to bring down the nation's mainsail of the economy. Would you have said that the president should have waited?
So when I heard that argument, I only say, what kind of briefing has he also been getting about Benue, Osun, Borno, Yobe, Katsina, Zamfara, Sokoto, where people have lost their lives, where there has been insurgency, terrorism? Is he only in Rivers? You just talked about Osun before we go to this interview segment. And if the president has heard this, can we have some credible things? And as far as I'm concerned, yes, while I may not be privy to the briefing he has received, I can only point to the content, substance of his address, which only referred to two explosions. And the fact of the intractable political crisis between the governor and his godfather. So I'm allowed to look at these issues as presented by the president in his address in appraising whether the grounds for declaration of state of emergency exist. And an objective appraisal of the same comes out with a resounding no. Because at the end of the day, it was all about the governor not being able to settle the crisis after the court judgment, after not taking advice, not doing this, house not sitting. And even I don't want to go questioning the narrative as contained in that address. The point is that the Rivers problem is being cured with a wrong solution, in my thinking. To me, it's like taking a sledgehammer to your head because of a headache. The measures being taken to address the Rivers problem are overreaching, are extensive, are undemocratic, and above all, unconstitutional.
I mean, you heard the arguments and the defense of Chief Lateef Fagbemi, the Attorney General of the Federation. For you, is that tenable?
I'm not going to wear a shoe. I will go on barefoot. By the time I get do 2 hours, 3 hours, my leg will swell. So when I fit it in, it will match. So don't worry about that. We already have a way to solve our problem. But this night is to say again, thank you for your support. Pray for my Oga. It's one thing to work very hard. It's another thing to stay and really enjoy the fruit of your labor. He has worked so hard. My prayers is anything, anywhere that is not of you, God should not allow it come close to you. You will live and enjoy the fruits of your labor. As a matter of fact, I'm your first son. I came with a speech, but I can't even look at it because that might tell me to decide I don't want. But I think everything that I need to say this night, I've communicated. Rivers State will remain our focus. Our leaders will continue to be respected, carried along in everything we're doing. More especially, the 3 wise men, that faithful day. Chief Fedi Anabraba, OCJ, Chief OCJ. You don't used to like Chief, but now you're a chief. And the other man is not here. Oha, Sergeant Awosi. They are key because when that decision was taken, I know you accused my Oga that is the one and all those things. But it was a collective decision and they were part of it that day. So I want to say thank you for having faith in me and believing in my humility. I'm not going to change. If I wanted to...
When the law speaks, ethnicity will run. The law has not spoken.
Have you foreclosed any amicable resolution of this?
Did I tell you I had any problem? All I'm saying, This is a structure that brought you. Be fair to them. Be fair to the structure that brought you. Don't you see? Even those who were opposed to you, you are insulting those. You know, look, nobody says you're the governor. But all you must understand is that people had sleepless nights. People you don't just throw them away like that. It is too early. I've never seen this happen anywhere. First of all, you have portrayed to yourself, you have told Nigerians, this is who I am. Some people even pretend that about 1 year, 2 years, they don't understand me, I show their true color. 3 months. No matter, there's nothing you can say in this world, though. Let me tell you, there's nothing you can say. Nobody is supporting you there. It's just they are supporting you because they think that they are fighting wicked. It's not that they are happy what you're doing. It's not as if if that is what you're doing, it's a lie. All those who cannot fight me are now coming around you, I will still win them. At the appropriate time, I will win. Mark it today. Mark it today. I don't know. Mark it today. You will see. You see. What? See, that is language I normally tell them. If you didn't do.
Hello everyone. My name is Nana. I'm 80 years old. I was born in a small village in Africa, surrounded by red earth, tall palm trees, and the songs of birds that seemed to praise God every morning. My life was simple, yet I always believed God had a special plan for me. Little did I know that His plan would unfold in a way that would leave people talking for generations. Today, I want to share with you my story, one of faith, hope, and the miraculous power of God. When I was a young girl, I had dreams like everyone else. I dreamed of being a mother, holding my own child, and teaching them the songs and stories of our ancestors. But as the years went by, and I reached my 20s, then my 30s, and even my 40s, that dream began to fade. My husband, Kofi, was a good man. He loved me deeply, and though he, too, longed for children, he never made me feel less because of our childlessness. But inside, I struggled. In a culture where motherhood is seen as a woman's greatest blessing, I often felt inadequate. People whispered, "What sin has she committed?" Others said, "She is cursed." I prayed, fasted, and sought God's face for years, yet my womb remained silent. How many of you have prayed for something for so long that you wondered if God was even listening, but also accepting that I would grow old without children? I clung to Psalm 34:18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. This verse became my anchor. Years turned into decades. I devoted my life to serving in the church, helping young mothers, and raising other people's children as if they were my own. But in the quiet of my heart, I still whispered a prayer. Lord, if it pleases you, let me experience the joy of motherhood, even if only for a moment. At 79, I began to notice strange things. My body felt different. At first, I thought it was old age playing tricks on me. But one morning, I woke up feeling an overwhelming sense of peace and purpose. It was as if God was saying, "Nana, I'm not finished with you yet." I went to the village clinic, where the young doctor looked at me with disbelief. "Mama Nana," he said, "it's impossible, but you're pregnant." Pregnant? At 79? I laughed, just like Sarah in Genesis 18:12. When she overheard the angel telling Abraham that she would have a child, I laughed because it seemed too absurd. to late, to impossible. But isn't that just like God? He specializes in the impossible. The months that followed were filled with both joy and fear. My story spread across the village, then the entire region. Some praised God for his miracle, while others doubted and mocked. It's not possible, they said. She must be lying. But I remembered Isaiah 55:8-9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. On the 25th of December, at exactly 3 a.m., I gave birth to a healthy baby boy. It was the most profound moment of my life. Holding him in my arms, I wept tears of gratitude and awe. I named him Emmanuel, meaning God with us, because his very existence